Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Lifestyle Today. I'm Justine Santinello. It's great to be back in the studio after a whirlwind trip out to California for Natural Products Expo West. So I was on the ground during the expo where I got to meet some amazing people and really learn about so many innovative brands in the natural, organic, and healthy products industry. Now, I always want to share with all of you guys the latest and greatest. So throughout the show today, I'll be showing off some of my favorite brands from the expo and sharing some content that I took while I was there all throughout. Now, before we dive into Expo West, our first guest is here to help us celebrate National Pet Day in a different way. Shannon Walker is the CEO and founder of Northwest Battle Buddies, an organization changing lives by specially pairing service dogs with veterans in need. Shannon, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. So excited.
So, what inspired you to start Northwest Battle Buddies, and how does it work to pair these dogs to veterans?
Well, so my inspiration was my dad. He taught me to believe in God, family, and country. And when you're in the presence of a veteran, you're in the presence of a hero, even though he never considered himself one. So when a veteran came into my for profit business, I've been a dog trainer for 30 years, and he wanted help with his dog, he got my attention. And through helping him, I saw him change through working with his dog. I saw him find courage inside himself to lead her where he was afraid to go alone. And I saw him be willing to do for her what he was unwilling to do for himself. And it was the beginning of an amazing journey.
So, we always hear about the amazing bond between veterans and their service dogs. Can you tell us just a little bit more about the way these dogs really go beyond being just pets?
Absolutely. Well, they're a tool trained specifically to mitigate the debilitating symptoms of PTSD. And through their extensive training and the training of the veteran and the dog, I mean, it's not even comparable to a pet. These service dogs, absolutely, through their training, bring freedom and independence in a place where the veterans have not had for sometimes decades. And for Northwest Battle Buddies, we actually specifically match the dog to the veteran. And it goes so far beyond the pet because the dog has to navigate the outside world. And when you are struggling, when panic attacks are coming, hypervigilance is keeping veterans at home. These service dogs, as a tool, are walking at their side and being used as a tool to make a difference in these lives. And it's opening up their world. And pets can't do that. But service dogs trained properly, absolutely are the ticket for at least the 240 veterans that we've gifted service dogs to. And I have to say, we haven't lost one veteran to suicide. So it's absolutely working.
So, is there any one story that really stands out to you from your time doing this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so one of the things that you'll hear veterans talk, so many of our veterans talk about is their suicidal ideations, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the suicide rate amongst our American heroes of 22 a day. And so when these service dogs are helping stop suicidal ideations, there's one particular story that comes to mind where a veteran, even through our 5 weeks of training that he went through, 3 weeks into that 5 week program, he was realizing that he had not had suicidal ideation since he met the dog we paired with him, Flame. And then if we fast forward a few months, he was actually in the shower. And prior to meeting her, every morning he had suicidal ideations, deciding if he was going to do one more day. And months after receiving her, he had one of those moments again. And because the dog goes everywhere with him, in the bathroom, he was having a suicidal ideation and she started whining and stuck herself into the shower to interrupt him and broke him out of that moment. And how these dogs instinctually can sense what these veterans are going through just totally sets the bar in the impact they have in our veterans' lives. And that goes for all of our veterans.
So, what do you think are some misconceptions that people may have about the role of service dogs, and how do you address that?
Well, I think one of the biggest issues is that the public looks at a service dog for a veteran with PTSD as an emotional support animal, and that is absolutely not the case. Because of the misconception, because of people taking fake service dogs out there, it's really the Wild West. We teach our veterans how to educate, educate the community, and try to bring. And we always tell our veterans, be the example and be an ambassador for the service dog industry and for veterans with PTSD. But the community as a whole has a misconception about, because of therapy dogs, ESA dogs, and service dogs. And so, what the community needs to know is that these dogs are a tool. These dogs are a lifeline of freedom and independence for our veterans, where some of our veterans have been just behind these barriers for decades, not going out in public, not experiencing time with their family. And because these service dogs are the tool that they are, it absolutely changes their life and opens their world.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. It was amazing.
All right, you guys, when we come back, I'll have my first Expo West roundup. Don't go anywhere.